Much, Jeff Bell. Thanks for your work all these years, and best of luck to you in your campaign. Next person that I want to introduce probably really doesn't need an introduction. He's the co-founder of Independence Hall Foundation. He was the president of our PAC, and he began one or two other conservative organizations over the years. There is no harder working conservative activist, I can attest to that, than Don Adams. Come on up here, Don.
Thank you all very much. And I just want to say before Senator Bell leaves, and he is on a tight campaign schedule, I actually had the privilege of interning for him as a college student, and I can't tell you that there's not a finer individual and a brighter mind out there. And the Reagan administration was very well served by him, and the people of New Jersey would be very well served if he were to become their senator. That is not an endorsement. We don't endorse as a foundation. But I can say that he's a really remarkable human being. Thank you. We are extremely honored this afternoon, I'm sorry. It seems like this evening to me because the day started like about 4 o'clock in the morning, so I apologize. We're extremely honored to have with us representatives of a fantastic organization, Razom for Ukraine. Ukrainian people have their backs against the wall as we speak. Many of you may have heard the news this week, the dire news that the president of Ukraine has called off the ceasefire. And it's very apparent that Putin will not stop his efforts to take control of this nation bit by bit. And it's not unlike the situation in World War II. I'm afraid I mentioned this on Dom Giordano's show. He thought I went too far, but I don't think so. If we don't stop Putin in his tracks right now, we could be looking at World War III. And I'm not kidding. And it's not just Putin and World War III that has us very much supportive of Razom for Ukraine. It has to do, which by the way, Razom means together, together for Ukraine. So we are all together for Ukraine. It has to do with the fact that the Ukrainian people, just like our founding fathers, are fighting for their independence, their national integrity. They want to remain a nation, just as our colonists did. Our colonists were fighting a war of independence. They were already independent. The British wanted to control them. They started to realize that they could do so. And so the Ukrainian people, I think, are faced with a really serious ultimatum: either fight or lose your freedom and liberty. And we want to encourage them to do what our founding fathers did. And we should also be encouraging our congressmen, our senators, our president, and NATO, and anybody we can think of, to send weapons and send aid of all variety to the Ukrainian freedom fighters so that they can defend themselves. They are trying to defend their nationhood, just as our founding fathers did in 1776. So it is with great, great honor that we present an award that we started last year, in which we, in light of the fact that the National Constitution Center was giving a Liberty Award to Hillary Clinton, we decided it was most appropriate to give a Defender of Liberty Award to the 4 victims of the Benghazi attack. And this, of course, this presentation last year occurred on the eve of the first anniversary of the Benghazi attack. So with all of that in mind, we are giving the award this year. The Independence Hall Foundation is giving this award to Razom for Ukraine, and on behalf of the Ukrainian people. And I would invite Natalia Shyrba and her cohorts to please come up so we can present this award. Thank you. The award says Defender of Liberty Award presented to Ukrainian people and Razom for Ukraine, July 4th, 2014, Independence Hall Foundation.
Is it stable? Yes. It's a beautiful award. I did not want it to fall. Thank you, Don, so much. It is a great honor for me to be here and accept this award on behalf of the Ukrainian people. Last year, in late November, the Ukrainian people made a choice to reject corruption. They made a choice to reject human rights violations. They made a choice to reject abuse of power in the government. They chose to be heard. They chose to fight for their freedoms and their liberty. They chose to defend their liberty. A future without liberty was not an acceptable choice. They showed courage and resolve, and they bravely stood by these choices. There was no turning back. One night in November, police attacked peaceful students protesting, and they brutally beat them. The next day, hundreds of thousands of people came out in support. Violently, the regime tried to attack again. They tried to disperse the protesters, but each time they stood their ground. In February, government snipers shot at the protesters. The protesters were carrying wooden shields, and they shot at them, but guess what? They did not back down. They stood their ground. So who are these people? Who are the Ukrainian people getting this award? When I look at this award, I see the people who made untold sacrifices for a free and just future. Over 100 people paid the ultimate price of their life in order for others to have liberty and pursuit of happiness. I see the young man who would walk away from the sons of the revolution to make the call to his parents and lie to them and tell them he's at university because he did not want them to worry, because he wasn't sure if he was going to come back and injured or alive. I see the old man with the cane who would walk to the Independence Square where the protests were taking place, and he stood long, cold nights there because somebody had to stand those nights in the winter. I see the 24-year-old woman. In October, her biggest worry was what she was going to wear when going out on Friday night. Suddenly, she was worrying whether there were enough bandages to help the injured in the makeshift hospital. This is not the same Ukraine as it was a year ago. This is a strong and resolved Ukraine, united in purpose and vision, and its people continue to fight for their rights. Standing here in the heart of history that took place 230 years ago, in a country that values its liberties, I really hope that Ukraine at some point will also be able to hold these kinds of celebrations, where they will honor liberties they're still fighting for to secure today. The people of Ukraine reached out to the world. They told about their struggle, and with words like these, I can see that they were heard. On behalf of the Ukrainian people, I am deeply, deeply thankful to the Independence Hall Foundation for this recognition and for their continued support in support of the Ukrainian quest for freedom. Thank you so much.
Natalia has made it known that the Liberty Bell will be placed in a museum in Kiev, which will celebrate Ukrainian liberty. So we thank you very much for what you're doing, and if there's anything, we will continue to work with you behind the scenes. Thank you.